Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Mad Dog. It's the beginning of the month and you know that can mean only one thing. You are tuning into Whale Watch. This is a series that I do at the beginning of every month where I sit down in front of my computer, I record the screen and we just look at some of the books that maybe look like they're going out of print, maybe some books that have gone out of print and you might still have a last chance to get them, books that have been stealth reprinted and any good deals that we can find along the way. I stress this at the beginning of every single one of these videos, this is not about driving up any kind of fear of missing out. This is hopefully to help you beat any kind of scalpers and make sure that you never pay over cover price for a book. As you can clearly guess from my surroundings, I am not any kind of financial advisor. At the end of the day, any books that you want, make sure that you can afford them comfortably and it doesn't impact any part of your life. From episode 1, this series has been about raising awareness for other collectors, maybe people who are new to the game or people who can't keep track of stuff in their own time. It's the video series that I wish existed when I was starting collecting out because this is everything that I've had to learn along the way. But let's just jump into it, and obviously we have started off Whale Watches by checking these Alien Deluxe editions from Dark Horse. I think if there isn't too much movement, I'm just going to quietly check these. For the last couple of episodes there hasn't really been too much to do with them. So you've got this one, the first volume, 7 left in stock at cover price at Amazon. It seems like that's creeping out of stock when it comes to your third parties here, and it seems like all of your other Amazons are pretty much at cover price. This is another website that I use that just compares like the majority of the book places across the UK. Obviously it doesn't have comic shops or anything like that, but it looks like you still might be able to get it from a few third party sellers. But it actually now looks as if this book is slowly on its way out. This is the first volume, which is the black cover. You've got this one, the second volume, that seems like it's healthily available here and there. And then you've got the Aliens vs Predator book, which came out in June this year. It seems like that's readily available as well. They have done quite a few stealth reprints of some of these Alien books, but it might be the case that they don't have enough time now to do that first one again. So it might be the case that if you can find it cheap, maybe you can find it with quite a bit off cover price. Might just be worth jumping onto it. Because as we know, the other one that did just jump out of stock everywhere was the Predator version that, you know, a lot of people slept on, and you don't want it to be the case that it's going to be the same with these Alien books. Because at the end of this year, the rights for Aliens goes to Disney, so Fox and Dark Horse, who originally owned them, can no longer print books under that label because of the fact that Marvel now owns the comic rights. So yes, you're going to get an Aliens Omnibus next year, but these are pretty much absolute edition size, so it isn't going to be the case that you're going to be able to get them in the same format. But like I said, I might just quietly check on those books over the coming months. Now, the next one that I want to talk about is one that I said to you guys was going to get a reprint at some point, and this is Big Damn Sin City. I've seen this be available at stuff like, I think it was Book Depository. Seems like you've got a few third-party sellers that haven't got the idea that this is being reprinted yet. Amazon says that they're going to get it back on stock on December 7th, and hopefully that price creeps down. Now, one thing that I have noticed, especially in the UK, is that if one place says that they're going to get it, a few other places tend to get it as well, like your Speedy Hand, your Book Depository, maybe even your Books etc., who get that significant discount. So if you ever see something that says like in stock and then it gives a date, maybe just hold out a little bit, because when I've pre-ordered books, it gives you the delivery estimate and it says like, oh, it'll be available November 24th, and then I tend to look around that date, and that's when I'll notice that other places, other booksellers tend to get it in stock. Let's just have a quick look here and compare some international prices. Now, Amazon Spain, holy shit, that's a good price. Amazon Spain currently has it for about 41% off, so if you want to help your boy out and you want to buy it from Amazon Spain, message me directly on Instagram or something and I'll send you an affiliate link so that, you know, hopefully I can finally afford to buy a new camera. But if you remember a few months ago, I did say that we had confirmation from Dark Horse themselves through a direct message from someone who viewed the show. We did have that direct confirmation that the Big Damn Sin City was coming back in stock. People wanted this as soon as it came out of print, so now it looks like we're on the precipice of it coming here. It looks like we've literally got about a week to go. So I would recommend, if you wanted this at the time when it was out of print, make sure that this is on your priority, because as we've seen, they're not afraid to let it go out of print, even if it is for a couple of months. And there's a few years where this went out of print, so it might be the case that they might just stop doing it one day. Now, how likely that is, I don't really know. Sin City is a very profitable series for them, but for me, I'd rather just have it in my collection than just constantly think that, oh, I might get it for 60% off. At one point, a new copy was 350 quid, and that was literally last month. Another one because a few places said that this was going out of print, and yeah, we did mention this last month, but sometimes you have to give these warnings, and that's the Postal Complete Collection. At the minute, Amazon is the only reputable place that has it, so as you can see, it's at full price as well, where it was only like a couple of weeks ago that it was for a little bit less than cover price. Now, this book never really dropped too low when it came to that discount. I think I got it I think I had to import this from in-stock trades if I remember correctly. And I think even then I didn't get too much off the price. But this is one of those books that I'm not too sure if this would get a reprint. There'd have to be significant demand for it because of the fact that this was only published because it was backed by a Kickstarter. I hardly doubt they're going to go back to that well and ask for a second Kickstarter to see if they can get a second edition of this book. Who knows at the time when like Postal, Deliverance or whatever it was called, if that gets some kind of complete collection, they might do a limited release of this one again. But for my liking, I think with how difficult it was to get this first one, this might be your last chance to get it. Now, it did actually crop back up on in-stock trades a few weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Can't spell today, but once again, it looks like they haven't got it anymore, unfortunately. So that's one that you should definitely be getting if it is that you wanted it, because none of us really know what the longevity of that book's going to be. And the fact that it only came out in, what was it, June, July? Yeah, so it came out in June. It already pretty much looks like it's out of print. To me, that's not really a good sign. Now, one thing that I am going to address in this video is everything that's gone on with the pandemic, because it looks like in terms of books, it's kind of got a bit more stability. We've kind of made it out the side a little bit. Obviously, we've gone into a second lockdown and everything's happening across the planet. But for me, I'm not really too sure if Postal would have been affected by any kind of printing delays that would have happened in a similar way to what we saw with Marvel. But I did a review of this book. I'd recommend checking it out. And if it's something that you want, this might be the month that you just have to buckle and get it, even if it is that you have to pay cover price, unfortunately. The next book that we're going to look at, again, is something that did feature, I think, only last month. But the thing with Whale Watch is, I'm not afraid to tell you to buy something twice. The next book that we're going to look at did feature in last month's Whale Watch, and I understand that it might be a bit stressful at the beginning, or it seems like I'm just treading water, but it's because I want to make sure that you don't miss out on the books that you might really want. Now, Incorruptable has pretty much gone out of print as far as we can see. That is over what cover price should have been. What I saw is, I went down and some of the more international Amazons, so as you can see here, we've got our Amazon Germany says that they've got, I think that's 2 in stock. You've also got Amazon France that's going for about 30 quid, 13 in stock. But if Incorruptible was a book that you wanted, don't wait around on this. This was a book that I thought had gone out of print before it'd even come out in stock, so it's something that you do have to jump on if it is that you want it. But look, not in stock, and then it just goes straight up to the Amazon prices, so let's have a look. Now, the thing with cheapcomics.com, they will pretty much always say that something's out of print, even if it doesn't look like it is, but in this case it looks like they're correct, and they're also already charging over cover price. Let's have a look if Read Comics has got it for you. No, it doesn't look like they've got it either, unfortunately. So some of the more international Amazons do actually have this book in stock and ready to go. If it is that you want it, I'd get it for about that £30 mark. That's a pretty good price to pay for something that seems like it's already gone out of print. Boom Studios, as well, as we know from like profitable series like the Power Rangers Deluxe editions, they aren't afraid to keep them out of print for a number of years. I would recommend, if you want the Incorruptible and you've already got Irredeemable, just get it now at that £30 price. That seems like a decent enough price. The next one that we're going to talk about is one that I've had quite a few of you message me about. Now, obviously I don't know where everybody is located, but East of West Year 2 is one that people said had just gone out of print again. But for my liking, I can see that it's in stock at Amazon, but that is one of the only places that does actually have it. I do not trust this M&M Media, but for me, if you want East of West Year 2, it seems like Amazon UK have it. Do any of the international? Yeah, it looks like all the international Amazons have got it. Let's have a look on in-stock trades. So they've got the direct market variant, which actually lines up better when it comes to the spines and stuff like that. But for me, it does look as if it is healthily in stock. So if you were somebody that heard that it was coming back in print, were annoyed when you couldn't get a copy of it, and now it's come back in print again and you can readily get it from quite a few sources, just get it now. With it being that this series has now ended, I think Year 3 is the last volume, it might be the case that they aren't afraid to let this go out of print and stay out of print. Unless it gets something like a TV show, what would be the use in just continually printing this series? It's not something like The Walking Dead that's got that widespread appeal beyond just the comic community, so it seems like it's really critically acclaimed. The art style, from what I've seen, is beautiful. If you want these books, now's the time to get them while you can get all 3 volumes. Another one as well that one of you asked me on Instagram about was Blade of the Immortal, the Deluxe edition. Not sure why I typed Omnibus there. This is, out of these Dark Horse Deluxe editions, this is the one that I wanted the most, so I'm eagerly waiting this one as well. It's at cover price pretty much on Amazon UK, and they are the only place in the UK that seems to be selling it at the moment. All of your other Amazons, except for the American one, are pretty much the same price as well. But Dark Horse is notorious for doing stuff like this, where the first release of a book will be severely limited. They will not have many copies in at all, and then all of a sudden a few months later, maybe even just a few weeks later, all of them come across and you can pretty much get it from everywhere. We've seen it with quite a few of the Berserk volumes, like at one point Berserk volume 1 was on this episode, and then you also had Berserk volume 3 last month, and that time I'd learned from my mistakes and I said to just wait, it'll probably come back in print. And I think Blade of the Immortal is going to be the same, because it looks as if there's going to be quite a few of these deluxe editions, so why would it be the case that they don't allow an adequate source of volume 1 if it is that you've got a volume 2, and I think there's even a volume 3 that's been solicited. Must have dreamt about that one. Let's have a look if Read Comics has got it. I like Read Comics. Yeah, so they've got it and it's over cover price again, but it does seem like they're one of the only places in the UK that's stocking it at the moment. But one thing that I did see was In Stock Trades had a restock of this. So for me, that means that the other additional copies have finally been printed. There you go. It's also got 45% off. I'm tempted to do a massive order of some of the other stuff that I really need, because In Stock Trades is going to crop up a few more times. Because this is America, they're more likely to get it before the UK gets it. So the fact that they've had this restock to me says that more of those printings have come out, and hopefully some are going to make the way across here. So I would, you know, resist just buying this at cover price just to have it in your collection, because I think if you give it maybe a month, maybe just a little bit longer, or maybe do a massive haul on In Stock Trades and just include it in there, it might be the case that more will come out and it'll be cheaper, and perhaps even in line with what those Berserk and Hellsing volumes are like when it comes to pricing. Another one that I got asked about, and it seems like it's all the Dark Horse like editions that I get asked about at the moment, is these deluxe editions of the Umbrella Academy. So these are pretty much the library edition. You get an art print and it also comes with a slipcase, and for that it means that it costs more money, but they are beautiful. I got all three. My girlfriend finally got me the final volume and I'm just glad that I've got this set. Now I got asked, because of the fact that this is the third and final volume that's being printed recently, the purple one, does that mean that these are probably going to go out of print again? But if you remember the first time these got printed, and I think it was back in 2010 if I remember correctly, these were out of print for the longest amount of time. They were super limited edition. But if I remember correctly, and obviously it was quite a few years ago, they made a point of saying that those were limited edition, and I think at one point they might have even been numbered. They might have told you just how small the print run was. Because of the Netflix show, I don't think there's going to be any issue with these for at least as long as that Netflix show's running. So, you know, it might be that I end up eating my own words, but these have been so readily available in stock. You know, it's been since March and I don't think I've seen it out of stock once, and you can get all three volumes comfortably at the moment. So there's volume 2 and there's volume 3. Obviously if you shop around, maybe go to Books etc, you can find it for a little bit cheaper. I think that's where I got the first 2 volumes from. So when it does become the case that they are getting few and far between at different places, I'm going to bring them back onto Whale Watch, because I do think they're beautiful editions. Obviously you've also got the standard library editions, which are pretty much similar. It's just the fact that like the hardcover isn't embossed as far as I know. It doesn't come with the slipcase or the art print. But again, I don't think you've got anything to worry about whilst that Netflix show is on, because they want as many ways for people to collect this series as they can. I wouldn't even be surprised if some kind of omnibus comes out maybe in the next year or so, just so there's a different format that people can pick up if it is that they really like the TV show. Now this is a big one, the next book that I'm going to talk to you about. I'm not sure if too many people saw this, but the JSA Omnibus Volume 2, which was a massive whale for a long amount of time, had some kind of stealth reprint. At the minute you can only get it from Super Book Deals EU, because it does seem like America's only recently just got it. But if you look, literally a few weeks ago, new copies were 500, 400 quid and then just drops to £95. But look, Cheap Graphic Novels, which works in direct with the direct market, had this available and it saved 30% off. If you remember how much this was going for recently, you should be jumping on this. This book at cover price a few months ago, you couldn't even fathom it. You didn't think it was going to happen. Don't let the tide turn on you again, that you miss out on this. Maybe you're stuck with a JSA Volume 1 and a JSA Volume 3. And it might even be worth contacting your comic shop directly, because obviously they need as much help as they can get at the minute. Contact them directly and see if it's the case that they might be able to order one in for you. We got it confirmed from Cheap Comics directly in one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook that this was some kind of stealth reprint. It's not that Cheap Graphic Novels just found a box of them in a warehouse that they didn't realise that they had. It seems like this is something that could be available to other companies if they just ask for them. But the reason why I'm bringing this up as well is because of the fact that I'm hopeful that this means that DC might do other stealth reprints of books that just disappeared out of stock. We saw it as well with the Teen Titans by Jeff Johns, and I don't have a drink near me at the moment. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that other big titles that just disappeared in front of our eyes, stuff like the Gotham Central Omnibus, is going to get a second chance at life. That's one that I would gladly now pick up if it was that I could get it for cover price or under. So if there is a DC Omnibus else, except for maybe something like Animal Man or something like that. Make sure that you're keeping an eye over it on the coming weeks, coming months, just in case they do another stealth reprint. We didn't think it was going to be possible with this one, so this proves that New Enough Anything is possible now. The next DC book that we're going to look at is one that I did bring up in an earlier video, and then it seems like I was proven wrong, and it might be the case that I get proven wrong again. That tends to happen on this show if you've watched it before. It's the Superman Exile Omnibus. As you can see, we've got super book deals and they've pretty much got it covered. You've got A Place in Space, which I think is an actual comic shop in the UK, and then you've got these guys. So it seems like there isn't those other places that, you know, you might fall back on, like your Book Depository, your Books Etc, your Speedy Hen. It seems like it's pretty much Amazon, and everywhere else seems to be struggling to get stock of this. It's also the cheapest Amazon that's actually got it, and if we go onto something like Cheap Comics, it's a cover price there. They aren't listing it as out of print, which is unusual for them. They list, you know, pre-order books as out of print, so not really too sure what's going on there. But if we have a look on Read Comics, they've got it in stock for a decent price as well. But for me, it does seem as if this wavers in and out of stock in a lot of places. If I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I've seen this with quite a few books like the Doom Patrol by Grant Morrison, the Invisibles and stuff like that. So it does seem like some books, they don't actively keep it in print all the time, and there's every chance that Superman Exile might be exactly the same. But for me, why would it be the case that they'd let the Death and Return of Superman go out of print and keep Superman Exile in stock? For me, that makes very little sense, because if you said what do I think is going to be more profitable, it'd definitely be the Death of Superman. And one thing that does tend to happen on these videos is, as soon as I say that a book from DC looks like it's going out of stock, Books Etc tends to get it and they sell it for half price. So if you're looking for the Superman Exile Omnibus, check on Books Etc in a few days and they might just have it. Now, one that at first was the sign of good news on Whale Watch is now the sign of misery for many, and it's the Absolute Swamp Thing Volume 2. Now, if you remember, for months this was pretty much about 25 quid, and we all didn't know if anything was going to happen. You might have even seen it in my haul where I told the story there, but we didn't know if Amazon was going to be able to honour all of the copies that were ordered for this. And there have been some people that have got it, myself included. There's been other people that unfortunately haven't been able to get it. But I've been asked, is this going out of print? Now, I don't know. Everything in Whale Watch is just pretty much me guessing and having a look at patterns and stuff like that, because I've got no kind of insider information or anything that I can like really go, here is concrete proof. But it does seem as if not that many places have it, but this could have just been at the very tail end of that pandemic. For my liking, the fact that we pretty much need a volume 3 of Swamp Thing to round out this set, and it seems like DC is getting better with completing runs and things like that. I think you're best just holding your ground on this and maybe just waiting a little bit and seeing if any more stock comes across. Similarly, I've been asked about the Swamp Thing Volume 1. Now, I buckled and I brought this from, I think it was Amazon Spain, I said, and a few days ago Books Etc had this for about £40. It was a really good price. But yeah, it seems like the cheapest place at the moment is Amazon US. Now, this was a reprint, so I don't really know how they're going to handle that. I don't know if they're going to do multiple printings of a reprint of a book that came out, you know, literally last year for the first time. You can get it from Amazon for undercover, but for me, I'd be waiting a little bit and seeing if more stock comes across, because it might have just been at the tail end of when the pandemic really affected books getting printed and stuff like that. As well, with it being that Volume 3 is not solicited yet, we don't really know what's going to happen, so there's no point paying over cover price for 2 books when it might be the case that DC might go back to its old DC ways and not even do a 3rd volume, unfortunately. That'd be disappointing and I'd be annoyed at them, but we don't even know if that's the case, so you don't want to pay more money than you're actually happy to do so, or worse, pay a scalper that probably brought it off Amazon for about 20 quid anyway, when waiting just a little bit of time might actually prove that it was worth it because of the fact that more books might come across. Yeah, it doesn't look like In Stock Trades has got this at the moment, but I will keep my eye on it. If it looks like more stock comes across, I'll make sure that I shout it out in a future video. But another book that shot up in price a few months ago, and it featured in 2 episodes of Whale Watch already, is the Before Watchmen Omnibus. Now yeah, it isn't available like on an Amazon directly, at least not on Amazon UK, but if you remember last month, the cheapest you could get this was 300 quid. It's even cheaper on their website, so that normally says that they do actually have it in stock. So if it is that you really wanted the Before Watchmen Omnibus and you were disappointed at the fact that it seemed like it just quickly went out of print, and you know, it doesn't look like many other places have got it yet either, I'd recommend jumping on it, because like I said, go back and watch one of the previous episodes. This was literally about 300 quid. You never know, it might be the case that book depositories got like the first lot of a shipment that's coming out across here, but if we went back, I'm not really too sure which other places had it. But it doesn't look like any of the Amazons have got it in at the moment. Let's have a see if any of the American sites have got it. Nope, not looking great on there either. So if you did want this, Book Depository's got it for you. You might have to pay a little bit more than what you would have gone, you know, a couple of months ago, but that's life sometimes. The next book that we're going to talk about is one that I probably should have mentioned last month. I had a quick look through that video and I can't believe I forgot about this one. It's the Batman Nightfall Omnibus Volume 3. Now in an earlier episode, I can't remember which volume I said I thought was going to go out of print, but I remember saying that one of these felt like it was teetering on that point, but it's showing as currently unavailable on Amazon at the moment. Yeah, that isn't the actual cover that you get, but it did do what I say is normally quite a worrying sign. So if you look, Amazon put it at full price and then all of a sudden there was no people selling it on the third party, and then all of a sudden just disappeared. Amazon India seems to have one if you want to go through a third party used copy on there, but I know that a lot of comic shops bought these volumes and it seems like they've been sitting on it for a while. That's skyrocketed in print, €180, that's quite insane. So you might be worth checking in some of your comic shops. Like I said, I've seen quite a few have this on the shelves when I've been asking for pictures recently. So make sure it is, if you wanted the third volume, maybe you needed it to round out your set, jump on this. And it might also be a bit of a warning sign for the other two volumes. So if you want the complete Nightfall, it seems like these omnibuses have been available for quite a while, and it seems like DC's moving on and doing other runs like No Man's Land and things like that. So if you want Nightfall, you want to collect this seminal piece of Batman history, might be that now is the time to do that. Another one that got mentioned I think last month and the month before, and no, this isn't just a recap episode, it is one of those where I'm trying to, you know, emphasize that some of these books are going out of stock. The Grayson Omnibus. What did we literally just say about Batman Nightfall? So it creeped up to cover price, and it even has the same cover price, and then slowly but surely there was no one else that was selling it. So again, M&N Media, don't trust them, that's pretty much as good as no one having it. Whereas last month it was about £55 or so. And even if all of the Amazons have got it at cover price, and let's have a see if somewhere like In Stock Trades has got it. And as well, the omnibus that comes out before this, the one that is the New 52 run, is getting printed soon, so it very well might be the case that well, everybody should have got Grayson by now, we've got a new Nightwing omnibus that people can go to. Looks like In Stock Trades hasn't got it either, unfortunately. People bought a Doom. Let's do our last resort. Let's just do a quick search. This might be one that I was actually finally correct about, because it seems like, yeah, nowhere's really got it. That's unfortunate. So this might also be available in your comic shop. I'd recommend picking it up, especially if you're getting that New 52 omnibus. You don't want the follow-up, which I've heard is better. You don't want to be left without that. Now, some good news in a similar way to what we just said about the Blade of the Immortal omnibus. One that I know a lot of people have wanted is this one right here, the Green Arrow Longbow Hunters Omnibus Volume 1, which was by Mike Grell. This was out of stock on their website pretty much from the day that it got released, whereas all of a sudden it's now come back in and you can get it for 45% off. The other one that I'm going to mention is the Legion Omnibus, the 5 years later. Similar situation, this looked like it just disappeared, but now it looks like it's back in stock again. This could be a very good sign that more are being printed and they're slowly making their way, you know, first to America and then later to us. But at the moment there isn't really many places that are getting it, so you might want to make it the case that you get a big order from In Stock Trades and you just order all these books at once so that you can get like quite a good value for your money with the postage and stuff like that. But it also might be the case that more have been printed. I can't imagine that In Stock Trades are the only place that wanted these books, so it might just be that they're slowly trickling out here and there. Now, one that I know did actually have this a matter of weeks ago, and hopefully they've still got it now, is Forbidden Planet. And yeah, they've got this in stock, dispatching in 3 to 5 days, and they also had the Legion Omnibus as well. So if you want it from somewhere in the UK, hopefully maybe get it a little bit quicker, Forbidden Planet is probably your best bet. But it does also look to be the case that some of these volumes are coming out, even if it is that they're starting off in America and we don't really know if or when we're going to get them across here. Yeah, they've got the Legion Omnibus for about £90. It's not the best price, but Read Comics always ships them really well. They've got great customer service. Been trying to get them on for a live stream to see if we can discuss what's happening with the pandemic, you know, what's happening with Brexit and stuff like that. If that's something that you're actually interested in, let me know in the comment section below. I've emailed them before, but obviously it was middle of the pandemic, so I've been trying in the past and hopefully we can get that rolling. But if there's a demand for that, let me know and I can go forward with them and go, look, there's people who really want to see this happen. But that is the Green Arrow and Legion Omnibus, so hopefully we'll get a few more of them in the future. Another one that will hopefully come as good news is the fact that the Hellblade Omnibus, even though it hasn't come back in stock in many big places, it has come back at a cheaper price than what it was a few weeks ago. Now, when we did our last Whale Watch, I think it would have been about this price, where there was just a used copy for about £200, which was insane. It does say temporarily out of stock, and I said this last month that it seemed weird that this only got one printing. Amazon America seems to have it quite cheap. They've got it in stock readily. You know, I'm not sure what that comes out to in total. It says it's about £72 here, so you do have options available to you, but I really honestly just don't have a clue what's happening with this book, because of the fact that it seems like only every other place tends to get it. So if you really wanted the Hellblade Omnibus, maybe you can get it from American Amazon, and that might be something that's better off to do rather than missing out. And then you never know, it could be next month and then at 200 quid again, which is just stupid. Now, one book that I was wrong about last month, and I said I didn't think it'd be out of print for long if it was, but obviously all the signs were there, is the Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale Omnibus. Literally as soon as I put my other video up, Books Etc. got it like I told you they would. But hopefully if it was that you wanted this book, this has kind of invigorated you to just buy it. That's a really good price, and I imagine on the website it's even cheaper. So yeah, it's pretty much 50% off. So last month we were literally saying that everywhere looked like it was going out of print, which just proves, you know, that how volatile this game is, and the fact that a book that you think could go out of print will just like come back in stock, and a book that wasn't on your radar can just disappear overnight. Don't let it be the case that you allow this to get out of stock again and you have to worry if you can actually get it. It's 50% off if you want to. What's not to buy? As long as, like I said, you can afford it, why would you turn that down? I've mentioned this one before, but there's been that development that I said would happen. It's at cover price. There's barely anyone that's selling it. So for me, I think the Deathstroke Omnibus is on its way out as well. I picked this up a few months ago, literally a couple of months. I think it was around about this time, because Books Etc. had it for about half price. I got it for that price, and then it just seems like it's skyrocketed since then. Look, bam, bam, bam. I don't know if there's too much of a market for this, but because of the fact that I haven't heard any buzz, it might be the case that they are allowing this to go out of print and they don't really care too much. Or again, it could be the case that this time next month, it just appears in stock again. But that's one that should definitely be on your radar if it was that you wanted the Deathstroke New 52 Omnibus. Now, we're getting into the Marvel books, and you know that means that we're starting with one thing. It's our Chi Check, which is the section of the video where we check on our boy ShangChi. Because as we know, it's rumoured that there's only going to be one printing of these, so once these go out of print, that's it, we're done. Last month, if I remember correctly, it was Reed Comics that had volume 1 on their Amazon page, and I remember saying, oh, let's have a see if this ends up going out of print there. It seems like they might still have it. That's a good sign. Yeah, so Reed Comics has got it. I think last month there was 3 available, now there's only 2, so it's gone down by 1. But if you get this from there, and then you get the other ones from Amazon, or maybe even Books Etc., you can still get the full ShangChi run. Yeah, Books Etc.'s got it, so that means it'll be cheaper on their website. I think Reed Comics as well had the volume 1 of Deadly Hands, so they might be able to save the day so that you can get this complete set. So yeah, they've still got it for undercover price. It's at £85. It is the last one that they've got available, and they don't really use marketing tactics like that. If they say it's the last one, it's the last one. But you can still, up to this point, get a full run of ShangChi and the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu if it is that you want it. I'm just not sure how much longer that's going to be for though. One that I know a lot of people in the UK were disappointed with was the Hulk by Peter David Omnibus Volume 2. It does seem to be the case that it's come back in stock in in-stock trades, and it stayed in stock, which was weird. I heard recently, and I think it was one of Omar's like Saturday live streams, that it should be the case that by now things are getting a bit more back to normal. They're able to print what is the demand for it rather than what was affecting them at the beginning of this pandemic. So this is a really good sign, and I'm tempted to buy this from there. I like this cover and also like the direct market cover, but in the UK I don't think I saw this in many places. Like, I tried having a look in Forbidden Planet and it doesn't seem like they've got it back in stock just yet, but they have got the direct market variant for volume 3, which I've pre-ordered because it's much better looking than the standard cover. I really don't like that cover, so I had to go direct market for that one. But hopefully this means that there's going to be some coming across here. I'm hoping so, because this is a run that I want. But as you can see, there's nowhere in the UK selling it, so you might be like me and you might be tempted to just buy this from in-stock trades. Their Amazon.com's got it, but it's at cover price. But hopefully the fact that this, like I said, has gone in stock and has stayed in stock, I'm hoping that's a good sign. The other one that we're going to look at is quite confusing because it's the X-Men Grand Design Omnibus. It's not listed as an omnibus, but it's been confirmed by Ed Piscor himself that this should have gone out of print. I'm going to find the post for you here, see if it'll let me do it without logging in. Yeah, as you can see here, put thanks everyone, the gargantuan 488 page. That's not that big, mate. The first printing of my X-Men Grand Design Omnibus is sold out from Marvel, so the stuff that's still in stores and online is all that will be available until we reprint after the holidays. Get it while you can. Yeah, it's in stock. there as well, and it's actually quite cheap, even when you factor in shipping and stuff like that, whereas as you can see, the Uncanny XMen Volume 2 is completely out of stock. What I'm saying is that the X-Men Grand Design Omnibus, if you can get it for pretty cheap, it might be worth picking it up if it is something that you wanted, but from his Instagram post, it seems like it's hinting at the fact that there's going to be a reprint after the holidays. And one thing that I'm going to start doing, because everybody starts calling me out on this, and I appreciate it because it doesn't, you know, spread the knowledge and stuff like that, it just makes me feel like I'm kind of wasting my time sometimes. I'm just going to start, when I start talking about the Marvel books, we're just going to click onto Omar's most recent stream, which I'd recommend watching in full. He's such a great guy. Obviously, if you're watching me, you probably know who the Uncanny Omar is already. You know, he's such a big channel, I respect him so much, and he's got so much insider knowledge that when we look here, it's already confirmed that the Grand Designs reprint is coming out in February of next year. So do not, and I repeat, do not pay over cover price for that. But let's just have a little run through of everything else that has shown up here. So we've got the Annihilation Omnibus reprint due this month, the She-Hulk by John Byrne, you've got the Morbius Omnibus this month as well, along with the Uncanny XMen Volume 1, which, as you know, was only made possible because of the fact that I was stupid enough to pay full price for it. You've got the Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1 coming out in February, like I said, X-Men Grand Designs, Conan, the original Marvel Years Volume 4, which seems to be readily in stock everywhere, coming out in March, along with the SpiderMan by Ben Reilly Omnibus Volume 2 coming out in March as well. It's good that Marvel is listening and we're getting these reprints across, and that we're getting restocks of those so that we don't have to miss out. But if I remember correctly, I think the Annihilation Omnibus reprints already come out in the US, so as you can see, In-Stock Trades has got it 45% off. You know, let's have a look what it was on Amazon a few months ago. Yeah, you can't get it new or at cover price on Amazon UK, and none of the Amazons are stocking it at the moment, but it does look as if retailers are getting their copies of the Annihilation restock coming through. So I try my best to give you the most up-to-date information that I can in these videos, which is why I'm going to start utilising the advantages that I've got. I am going to make sure that I plug Omar every time that I do it, even though it's probably a bit redundant because of the fact that he's probably not going to gain any subscribers as a result of me saying his name. I'm nowhere near that kind of like clout when it comes to this. So I'm going to start mentioning that at the beginning of the video so that you can have the most up-to-date information as possible, and so that you don't have to risk possibly paying over cover price for something that you really wanted. Another one that I'm going to mention is this one right here, the Runaways Omnibus. Now, as you can see, it's currently at full price, and let's have a look who's selling it. Realistically, there's no third party that is actually selling it for cover price, and they've all been gradually creeping up. Now, what I did notice is that Forbidden Planet were actually selling this off a few days ago, but it does look as if unfortunately that's no longer available. Let's have a look at somewhere like Cheap Comics, which is where I got it on a sale price. Unfortunately, they don't have it either. So Runaways looks like it's on its way out as well. You might still be able to stumble on it for a pretty decent price because of the fact that a lot of places were sitting on this for a while and it didn't seem like they could get rid of it. But yeah, they don't even have the purple button of doom. It's just straight up out of stock when it comes to read comics. Let's just have a see if maybe there's a random person selling it on eBay for a really good price. I'm losing my voice a little bit as well, so I apologise for that. But don't worry, I don't have any kind of illness. I'm just talking all the time. Doesn't seem like anywhere's got this. So the Runaways Omnibus is another one that might just slip from under your fingers. You might not notice it's disappearing. I don't want that to be what happens for you guys, so just make sure if you do want it, don't allow that to happen, because with these books that, you know, die a slow death on the way to being out of print, it tends to be the case that they're the ones that then shoot up in price when it comes to that third party out of print status. But while we saw it previously, I might as well address the Uncanny XMen Omnibus Volume 2. This recently got a reprint and it seems like nowhere's stocking it at the moment. I managed to get one from Books Etc, and he had it for a really good price. But for me, it does seem to be the case that this is going to be one of those that creeps in and out of stock here, there and everywhere. But for me, the fact that Marvel is restocking that reprint of the Uncanny XMen Volume 1 shows that they know that there's a high demand for this. And I can't imagine that the Uncanny XMen Volume 1 has had, I think, 4 printings, and I think this has only had 2. So because of that, they must know that more people don't have Volume 2 than don't have Volume 1. And if you get that Volume 1, you want Volume 2. So if it does seem that this goes out of print, I would recommend waiting a few months rather than paying a stupid amount of money for it, because of the fact that, like I said, with that 4th volume coming out as well, they will want these books readily available so that people can could just buy them. The X-Men are a big name, and this is probably the most famous run of that story. So just hang tight with this one. Don't panic buy and pay stupid amounts if it is that you might eventually be able to get it for a bit cheaper. Obviously we know that the Ed Brubaker Captain America Omnibus Volume 1's getting a reprint, and I said before that I think that might affect some of the other volumes, especially the Return of the Winter Soldier and the Trial of Captain America. Now, as you can see, there is one place that's selling it. Alias Comics is a place that I've used before, so I can actually recommend them, but for me, nowhere's really selling this at all. You haven't got any big name shops that are selling it, so if it is that you want this complete run, because I think they are going to eventually do a reprint of the death of Captain America in Captain America Lives, but these last two volumes, which are technically volumes 4 and 5, I don't really know what the likelihood of them getting any kind of second printing is, because of the fact that they died a really slow death. eBay, someone's selling it used for about £60. If you're watching this video, I hope you sell your copy. But it looks like this one's pretty much already out of print, and as well, if we look at the other volume, which is the Trial of Captain America, yeah, that's pretty much out of print now as well. It's such a shame because this is such a great run, and I'd like it if people could just be able to, you know, just get the complete run of this. It doesn't look like Reed Comics has got it as well. Let's take a look at Cheap Comics. Nice, so these actually have a sale of the Trial of Captain America. Of course, this is Cheap Comics. That's actually a really good price, so again, there's every chance it might get a reprint. I don't know how likely Marvel is to reprint 5 books in a series, especially when it was the case that the 4th and 5th volumes didn't really do too well anyway. Even if they do that, you might be waiting up to 2 years to get it, so you can get this for a pretty decent price anyway. I'd recommend just jumping on it. If you do end up buying that deal, just let me know. It's nice to know if I actually managed to help someone with these videos rather than just irritate everybody. But another book that got listed as getting a reprint is the Fantastic Four Omnibuses Volume 2 and 3, along with a Volume 4. What this means to me is that Volume 1 is at risk. There was no mention that Volume 1 is going to get any kind of later reprinting or anything like that. So if you want to get all these books, maybe it's the case that you didn't pick up Volume 1 because you don't know what's happening with Volume 2, 3 and 4. We know now, so jump on them if you want them. I'm even tempted, because I've heard so many mixed opinions. I've heard people saying that this is one of the greatest runs of all time, and I've heard people saying that this just hasn't aged well. So now that I know that it's going to be complete, I'm half tempted to buy them just to see what it's like, you know, for somebody that's never really grown up in that era. But this time next year, you could get a full run of Fantastic Four, but it might very well be the case that if you wait for those later printings, you might miss out on this first volume, and then it's pretty much redundant getting any of the later ones. Whilst it's at a decent price as well, there's no real justification to wait and see if it's going to get any cheaper or anything like that. So you might now be able to get a full run of the Fantastic Four Omnibuses if it is the case that you pick up this first volume. This next one was one of the most hotly anticipated reprints of the year. Everybody was begging for this one, and then it seems like nobody's really bothered. But look at this, the Uncanny X-Force by Reprint is only currently available from Amazon directly on their website. Amazon Spain still have the cheapest price, it's about 36% off there, but as you can see, they're the only place stocking it as well. I think In Stock Trades did actually have this one. That's the complete collection, not the omnibus. Damn, it looks like that's gone out of stock there as well. So for me, this was something that everybody wanted. When it was out of print, this was like the top of most people's most wanted reprint. And then it got reprinted, and there was that hassle getting it in the first place. Then nobody seemed to care anymore. I get the feeling that this might go out of print again, maybe in the next 6 or so months, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to be like, oh well, why didn't I get it? You can still get it from Reed Comics for about £60, obviously you've got to pay shipping, but they are listing it as out of print again. Obviously you have to always take it with a pinch of salt with Cheap Comics, but for me, if you combine that with the fact that no one's selling it on Amazon or anything like that, that is a warning sign to me. It could very well be the case that there's been some later printing that's just waiting to get across. I kept hearing about that in like Augusty time, but I haven't really heard anything since then. But if it is that you wanted this, I think now is the best time to get it, and just don't wait on it. You don't know what's going to happen a month from now, and I think it could be the case that 6 months from now we're going to be saying, oh, why didn't they do another printed of Uncanny X-Force? Whereas we should have been saying, why aren't you buying it now whilst it's in stock for less than cover? Because literally last year you would have done anything to get this for undercover price, because this originally got printed in 2014. Now if we look, this was around the time when you just couldn't get it. New copies were over £1,000, which is just insane. You don't want to be in that boat again. I don't want you to be in that boat again. This is quite a fun run. I've read quite the majority of it, and I do need to go back and finish it. So don't be the person that waits again when you've been given this second opportunity anyway. Just get the Uncanny X-Force whilst you can. You might also be wondering about the other books that got listed as getting a reprint around the same time. Now, I don't think these are going out of print at all at the minute, but these are just books that you should buy anyway, so of course I'm going to mention them. The last book that we're going to talk about fortunately got announced for a reprint a few weeks ago, courtesy of the Uncanny Omar. Now, this is what we're going to be doing called the Omar Effect. Now, as you can see, they clearly haven't got the memo that this book's getting a reprint just yet. You can see that that person did, they clearly tried to cash out. Now, when exactly did Omar announce that this was getting a reprint? Right, so it's November 6th that this got announced, so I'm wondering when we can see the Omar Effect start working. Now, let's just go on to eBay. Yep, you can see everybody doing a bit of a fire sale. He probably isn't going to get any bids on that. So, somebody sold their companion omnibus recently for about £70. As you can see, they've listed it pretty much after. Somebody sold that one. You see it started going out at cover price, £80. Whereas before that, oh, why did you pay 140? Like, it was announced at that point. You had about 2 weeks after then. So this is the date that this got announced for a reprint. So that person, a bit unfortunate. But yeah, so look, £50, 6th of November. They sold both of them 6th of November, £80, 6th of November. All of a sudden, they just started plummeting in price, but it seems like, Jesus Christ, that's a bit of a difference, isn't it? £150, 65, and then 130. But yeah, this companion omnibus, I remember this being on clearance at one point, but now, if you look at a few weeks ago, it was going for well over cover price. So if you want any of those books when it is that they decide to bring them back in print, I can't remember exactly when he said that's going to be, you can miss out on the Omar Effect. And the other one that we're going to look at is the Amazing SpiderMan Volume 2 Omnibus. £107, see, that dropped significantly in price. £130, I'm not sure when the reprint of this was announced. You've got a Volume 3 here that went for £215, a Volume 2 that went for £150. This was well before it was announced that it was going to be a reprint. I pretty much get the feeling that Volume 3 is definitely guaranteed a reprint if it is that Volume 2 got one. £95, you see, so you can still get some whales undercover whilst it is that they are technically out of print. But that is the Omar Effect in full swing, and it's going to be fun to see what other books that get announced, you know, in the coming months, all of a sudden just start plummeting in price on eBay. But they are all the books that I've got to talk about this month, and I know it's been mainly like a recap kind of month, but it's because of the fact that there has been some movement and some developments with the books that I've mentioned before. Obviously, I'm always going to try to give you the most up-to-date information as possible, and I'm not going to be right 100% of the time. I really wish I was, but this is pretty much me just trying to pull together all the resources that I've got to hopefully help other collectors. I tend to say this at the end of every episode. I know some people don't like this as a concept and they don't like me, and I'm completely fine with that because of the fact that I just want to really help people save money in a way that I wish I was able to when I first started collecting. The only way that you're going to be able to buy a really decent collection without, you know, having an amazingly well-paying job or, you know, winning the lottery or anything like that is to be savvy with your money. These searches and stuff that I do was what I was doing for myself for years before because of the fact that I was a bit worried that, you know, I wouldn't be able to afford every book that I wanted. But if you're wise with your money, you can afford more of the books that you want. Obviously, I don't know how much money you've got and I don't know how many books you want, but you know, using stuff like this, using your resources and investigating and looking, or maybe just watching this video once a month, is hopefully helping you guys save some money. I get a few of you guys saying that, you know, I've helped you save money, like somebody said it with Big Damn Sin City. And you know, it does really make me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile when you tell me that you've saved money on books, or you know, you waited and it did come back in stock, so you didn't spend stupid amounts, or you just got a book that you really wanted. Well, Watch has been the passion project of this channel, you know, since I started it, and I just hope that I can keep it going and I can hopefully bring you guys useful information and that we can just develop this. I know Brian has wanted me to do some kind of epic collection, masterworks, like trade paperback kind of segment with this, maybe some kind of spin-off of it like a Whale Watch mini, which is something that I've got in development. But for me, the rule with this channel, and you might not believe it with how much I waffle, but the rule has been, I never want to waste your guys' time. Everything I say is stuff that I've researched. I never really just put stuff on this list so that I can pad out the video. Because if I waste your guys' time, you're not going to come back and watch later episodes. I don't want to sacrifice the loyalty that could be shown for this series in the future just to pad out a video now. There's no benefit to me padding it out, so everything that I say is something that I genuinely believe might go out of print or might come back in. And I want to apply that same philosophy if it is that I do it for epic collections, paperbacks and masterworks. I don't just want to go in and just list everything and have no real confidence with what I'm saying. I want to make sure that I've researched it thoroughly and I've checked the trends in the way that masterworks and, you know, epics and stuff like that tend to go out of print and what the telltale signs are, so that I can come to you with that that video and know that it's something that's worth your time. I'm hoping that that's something that you guys respect, and it might even be the case it's still a few months away. But it's because when I do eventually do that series, I want to make sure that I can give you honest and genuine information so that I can hopefully help you save some money and I can hopefully find you some deals, and that is the point of this show overall. Beat the scalpers, get a better collection, and at the same time save a bit of money. And like I said, I'm just hoping that it has been worthwhile. It's crazy that now I'm already at 1,000 subscribers and it feels like my channel's still in its infancy stage. I'm still learning, I'm still developing, and I'm grateful for everybody that supports this channel, for everybody who does support Whale Watch. And, you know, keep telling me about deals that you found, you know, maybe as a result of this, or maybe that you want to see featured on this. All of it helps, and like I said, I thank everybody that has supported, and hopefully you continue to see a development of this channel. You know, we're just at the start. Me getting 1,000 subscribers is the beginning of this channel. I'm going to work so much harder now, and I've got so many different ideas of what I want to do and where I want to take Mad Dog Comics. But I think I'm going to leave this video there on just, you know, me saying thank you. Thank you for supporting it, and thank you for continuing to support it. But comment below, what are some of the books that you're worried about, or what are some of the whales that you picked up in the last month? And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't like this video, why did you get this far? Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and keep your eyes peeled for a special announcement about the live stream that's coming up soon, where there will be a little bit of a giveaway. It's nothing too massive, but it is my way of wanting to give back to this community that's supported me so far. And I do have quite an erratic schedule. I try to put out as many videos as I can, as often as I can. What I'd recommend is that you click that subscribe button down below and that you click the bell notification so that you never miss a video. As well, make sure that you follow me on my social media links so that you never miss anything, and I make sure that I put as much comic content on there as I can. If I do find any deals, I put it on social media, and also I try and ask for your involvement in the videos that you want to see. So just make sure that you're there and you can be part of the conversation. So if you do want to support the channel, it is greatly appreciated, and I don't feel like I've got enough that I can offer for a Patreon. Maybe if I went full time with this, my stance on that might change, but all I ask is that you treat yourself to a book, maybe one of the whales that, you know, I might have spotted on this video here, or just anything from Amazon in general. But all I ask is that you use one of the Amazon affiliate links down below. It doesn't increase the price, I can't see any of your details. All it means is that there is eventually going to be some money coming into this channel. But that's the video, and again, thank you for watching. I really need to rest my voice right now, but until the next video, just make sure that you stay safe, stay reading the best books and bringing them into your collections, and stay mad all you dogs, and I'll see you at the next video. Woof woof!